Let's take a good look at Psalm 53. 6 verses. 6 verses. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquities. There is none who does good. This psalm is very similar to Psalm 14. However, even though similar, still they are different. For instance, in Psalm 14, the attention of the reader is directed to the suffering of the Messiah and his servant, and therefore is private. But in this 53rd Psalm is given respecting the judgment of the oppressor, the Antichrist, and the deliverance of the oppressed. Consequently, it is for public use. And the fool who is spoken of here actually refers to the Antichrist. He is a fool because he says there is no God, despite all the good that he will be promised in the world. That will be no good that is done by the evil. There is no good in that evil one. God looked down from heaven. What did he look down to? He looked at the children of men to see if there were any who understood that did seek God. You remember, this was before the flood. This refers to the Great Tribulation period and will signal the rise of the Antichrist. At this time, God will pour out tremendous plagues and judgment on this planet. However, he will search the planet, Earth, to see if such can be avoided. Because true to his nature as God of mercy, regrettably, he will find none that will cry out after God. All will, in fact, refuse to repent. And this is in Revelation 9, 20, 21. Back in Noah's day, God came down and put his hand over his eyebrow and looked over this world. This world was populated 100%. I'm talking about 100%. Man had lived 700 years and more and made children by many women all of those years. And those children were having children. Those children were having children. This earth was 100% covered with people when the great flood came. God put his hand over his eye. And he started searching. He searched this world over. Just as he was fixing to say, which one? I have found no righteous man. I will end the whole matter. And I will do away with mankind that I have made. Or Kathy Worley. And he saw that righteous person, Noah. Jeff Worley or Kathy Worley. And as he saw Noah, he which one? Came. Jeff Worley or Kathy Worley. He saw Noah. And as he saw Noah, he said, I have found a righteous man. Immediately, though, he started Noah building the ark, so that the ark could be built, because he saw that there was no other way out other than having the ark be made. And so every one of them has gone back. They are all together become filthy. There is none who do good, no, not one. Paul quotes this passage in Romans 3, 10 through 18. Going to the bottom line, all who follow the Antichrist will be filthy, with none doing good. Have the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread? They have not called upon God. These workers of iniquity, including those who followed Saul, they attempted at Saul's command to kill David. David called upon God. They did not. It is a greater way. It is referred to as the followers of the Antichrist, who had no knowledge of God. They are also workers of iniquity. Daniel 8:24. These were men that looked like they were David's men, and they weren't. They had followed Saul. They were in great fear, where no fear was, for God had scattered the bones of him who encamped against you, that is, against Israel. You have put them to shame, because God has despised them. This verse proclaims the destruction of the Antichrist when the power of God explodes against the man of sin. The Antichrist will then be in great fear. The statement, where no fear was, refers to the Antichrist thinking that God will not take action against him. But now he sees that God has come on the scene and will completely destroy him. This verse and the last verse point to this place and predict the time of the destruction of this fool and his followers. His folly is described in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, as well as in verse 1, Psalm 1. The scattering of the bones referred to the conclusion of the Battle of Armageddon, when Israel will spend 7 months in burying the dead. The shame of the defeat of the Antichrist and his followers will be obvious to the whole world, because God has despised them. And verse 6, or what? The salvation of Israel? What cometh out of Zion? When God bring back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. This will be fulfilled at the second advent of Christ. At long last, the captivity of Israel will be ended. Then Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. In Zechariah 14 and 21. So, the fullness of it will come. And this was just an 8-minute thing right here. God can get us through these if I'll let him. And we'll see you next time. Right. Bye-bye.